Yeah, I don't know if this is going to work really seriously. I really don't. I'm just trying to talk a little bit about a few things. I came across this video, and I figured I would talk about it. Um, and for me to talk about it, obviously, considering, I do align with the transgender community when it comes to things of that nature to some extent. But I think actually it can help me understand a bit more of what's going on in that situation more so. Um, well, honestly, I mean, I don't live the life, obviously. Just always considered transition as a into living as a guy. But anyway, that's a whole different story. I just think kind of like I don't really have much hate towards the lady, honestly, because I kind of feel like personally, for me, I've been around a lot of transgender people, trans women especially, even, which is odd, I guess, but I have. And I mean, like, that kind of behavior isn't out of the norm to me, but it's not from a very evil place, in my opinion. It's not from a very wrong place. It's kind of like you understand the perspective of the person and what they're dealing with, then you understand what's going on, basically. Um, so, I mean, like, first off, we're watching a video about a lady who was saying that black women were jealous of her and, that black gay men wanted to be her. Now, parts of that is just, I think, a way to heal from what really is going on here. For one, we all want to ignore the elephant in the room, which is just odd to me. I mean, like, well, obviously, the only reason she's a trans woman is because of her dysphoria. And her dysphoria has caused her to, use the hormones and the surgery and things of that nature. I mean, real, like, cis women who are biological women, they, you know, be women. And I kind of find it like, why would we even really address this? I mean, like, if this is what needs to be said for her to feel better about her situation, then that's fine to me. But, like, I mean, I guess I'm thinking, like, from her back, oh, there's we have real natural looking bodies. Most of us, have natural feminine voices. We are women. You trans women wish you were women, but you're not. You have to get surgery to look like a woman and sound like one. Exactly. Like, she was having a big rant over being trans. You know what I mean? And to me, it's like, I don't know. I come from a different point of view. I don't like being a natural born female, but I mean, like, I people like her actually make me feel good about it. Honestly, her anger actually makes me feel good about it because it's like, when someone wants something that you have that is supposed to be good, I guess, to them, then you kind of like want more. But that's a whole different story. I don't want a conversation really. To me, like, I just think a major part of it is, you know, you have to kind of think of the point of view that she's coming from. Is like she's taking like hormones because, and the reason why she's taking hormones is because if she didn't take hormones, she would basically feel pretty, many of them feel very suicidal and very vulnerable, basically, because of their dysphoria. So to me, I'm like, if we're talking about anyone being weak here, I would say someone who needs a hormone or needs, surgery to feel like they're not going to kill themselves because they can't be themselves kind of seems weak to me. I'm saying this as someone who deals with similar issues, but I've always felt like if I can't live with my body as it is, then how strong am I? You know what I mean? And to me, that's how I feel about her situation, honestly. Um, but I just think like she's a fragile person to me. The reason I say she's fragile is because if you're real with her, she's gonna want to slit her wrists. And I don't appreciate that because I mean, I guess you could say I am supportive of trans women to the sense that I don't want them to hurt. I don't agree with like really basically showing them what's behind the curtain. What we all know is behind the curtain. You know what I mean? It's reality, but we all know reality, but why do we have to really let them know reality when if they can't handle reality and this is what they've been trying to do is run away from reality, then I don't really see why I should really address it. You know what I mean? Like to me personally, it's like I can handle reality. I understand that I'm a biological woman. I do not want to like I don't have those issues really in that regard most of the time. But I mean like from her their comments. I feel like trans black women want white men. They want white men to prefer them over real black women. They want white men to mistake them as women. Plus most gay black men are with white men. I don't know. Like honestly, the way I see it was men. I mean trans women. Sorry. Um, is they more than anything want straight men to prefer them. And I mean, like I understand that the reason they do it validates them. Honestly, I could say you have to kind of like see it from reality though. Here's the thing, like many of the time these same trans women would not be with someone who's a trans man. So they know what's a man and what's a transsexual. So they know very well they aren't like cis women because from their own preference, they understand the difference on their end. So they know that no straight man would really actually want them. That's kind of the truth there. And I mean, like I said, it's just like honestly, we can call their men the men that they're straight for all I care. I don't really care too much, honestly. It's like if that's something that won't hurt you or make you feel bad about what you are or whatever, then go ahead, Like I said, I am more for the health of trans women than actually just trying to hurt them for what reason, I don't know. Like to me, even when they want to try to be hurtful to trans not what you want, right? So I mean, it's obvious that you can't really be too hurtful because all the while you're angry and hot, you're all the while you're talking, but your actions are showing that the woman is the goal. Black women are the goal. Because when you're a black trans woman, what are you? You're trying to be a black woman. So then, I mean, like, at this point, like, whatever you say, it doesn't really matter because you're doing the thing that's showing that you want to be a biological woman. And like I said, it's, there's another comment. Pretty brown girl Ari. like most trans women. I'm sorry. I don't know. Like, honestly, for me, with trans women, in my experience, it depends on the trans woman, honestly. Some trans women, they are just like a little bit more, they're a little bit more insecure and they show more of their jealousy. But then others, they really don't. And they're more, I guess, comfortable with themselves where it's like you can get along enough. But I don't know. To me, it's just like I can't really get too upset as someone who's trying a biological woman. Having access. Hello? Let's hope I'm still being able to be heard. Who knows? Um, so there's one other thing I wanted to talk about though, was this whole situation with um people who we're talking about the whole surgery situation with trans women and that many of them like wanted to have like oh okay, it seems like I'm hurt now, sorry. Um, okay, pretty brown girl, Ari, who said, I just looked up black trans women. They are not attractive. Oh, well, I don't know. Like I said, they don't look like women to me some of the time. Sometimes I can see other things. I don't really care, though. It's not really my concern if they're attractive or not. More so the actions of what they're trying to accomplish is more flattering to me than anything. But, um, the one thing I wanted to say was to me, it's like some people try and act like um, that biologically or physically that they can become more like women or things of that nature. But even if they had all the surgeries, does anyone really pay attention to the fact that if a trans woman has all the surgeries that she's supposed to have, she still has a penis after all that? I mean, people always talk about the vaginal like surgery that they get, but it's actually they still have their penis. It's just reconstructed in a different way. And I mean, people always act like that's the end all be all to being a woman. Like just the physical sexual side of it. It's like, oh, there's more comments. I'm sorry. Yeah, they do look very masculine. They look very masculine in structure, especially like bone structure. Many trans women, if they look to the side, they look more masculine, honestly. And it's not just their facial structure. Sometimes, like it can be their body type, their hands, goodness, their hands. Many different things like that. And honestly, it's seeing some transgender people, it's been more dysphoric for me because it's like a lot of things can't really be changed, and it sucks. But yeah, I don't like trans women. Crystal Swirls exposed themselves. Now I'm disturbed by trans women. and a trans woman came for crystal swirls. Really? I didn't know that. I remember there was one time there was this intersex woman that came to her channel, and I think crystal swirls was good with her. But I did a whole video on that because it was kind of disturbed by the fact that she called her trans. But yeah, I didn't know that a trans woman came for crystal swirls. I don't really pay attention to all the drama, I guess you could say. Yeah, I heard about that. That trans women are like some trans women have abused some women in prison and things of that nature. It's like a lot of different things where trans women will be put into women's spaces and then they will basically take advantage of them in many different arenas. And then, they'll just basically take a blind eye to it because they're trans. Like, they always have to be supported just because they're trans, which is, we need to deal more in reality, thinking about like how people are supposed to be politically correct to please other people, like people need to actually think about the good for women and other people as well. Is jealous. I really don't. Like, literally. And obviously, cis women, well, they can't be her biological women can't be her, but that they can only be what she can't be. So I mean, like, I don't really get who would be jealous at this point. I don't think anyone would be jealous of her. I mean, if they want to be her, they can. It just takes surgery and some hormones. I mean, it's not that rocket science at all. I say this honestly. Nobody wants or asks to have gender dysphoria. As someone who has gender dysphoria, I would give it up at the drop of a hat. Honestly, nobody wants gender dysphoria. Nobody wants to have to take hormones or feel they have to take hormones in order to accept their body. Like, that's just weird. That's a weird idea to think that, someone would actually select to be a person that cannot accept their natural body, you know? Like, nobody elects to be the person who's basically a plastic um doll, basically, where like, like, for example, like cis women who, have like a whole bunch of surgeries and things of that nature. Do you think anyone elects to be specifically her? No. Even if the surgery looks good at the end, people wish they were born that way, not where they have to get plastic surgery, spend all that money to look like that. So I'm saying this as far as a cis woman who's completely plastic. Nobody wants to even be her, let alone a biological male who's completely plastic. Like, why would anyone want to be that? It, there's so many different body parts that are triggering her every day. I mean, like, even after all the surgeries, you're still seeing different things in you that are masculine that are bothering you and could very well drive you over the edge and make you hurt yourself. So I mean, like, the rate suicide and things of that nature among transgender populations with. So to me, I don't understand how anyone could be jealous of that. seriously. Honestly, as someone who has some of the similar issues, I is but honestly, I feel like the hate towards, honestly, I feel like it's just like it's pretty typical because some people, you know, they have their personal struggle. Can you hear me? Because I see my internet's off. Shoot. Please, please don't go off. So yeah, basically, I think that comes with the territory, honestly. In many ways, I mean, like, different types of people can, make people feel a little bit more insecure or uncomfortable with their own gender dysphoria and different issues they might have with their biological sex, and I don't, like I said, in this case, words really don't matter because actions speak louder than words. So no matter how she might have anger and call black women, black bitches or whatever she was calling them and being hateful towards them, she is just upset that she can't look like them because every day what she does is tries to look like a black woman. So I mean, so long as she is doing that, there's nothing really to address at that point. I've seen plenty, that just have like some kind of like raw hate, towards black women that they want to look like. And to me, I don't know. I just kind of like, I'm like, I feel sorry for the pain that they must feel that makes them that way more than anything. And kind of like, the more comfortable they are with themselves and them being feminine, the more they're going to be less hateful towards other, you know, people in general. But I don't really think that she understood that's how she made herself look. And a lot of the time when people go on rants like this, they really don't pay attention to the fact that, you know, making herself, obviously showing herself and showing that she's trying to look as much of a woman, as much of a black woman as she can, while also trying to attack black women, shows that she has this clear self issue, basically. Like I also think that it might be why she, transitioned because like she has issues with black women and she has issues with gay men. Now, the thing with the gay men, I feel like there's something deep there. And I kind of feel like the reason she goes after black women might actually be because she doesn't honestly feel completely with them. And that goes against everything she's claiming being a trans woman. Because a trans woman is supposed to be a woman. Yet you are trying to see yourself in a different light, which says your perception of yourself is different than what you're trying to let on. Now, I'm not saying that trans women are men in masquerade. I don't generally think they are. I'm just saying, specifically in this case, she's letting on more information about herself than she probably wants to basically let others know about. But I don't really, and that also goes into the next thing that I'm saying. Like, honestly, I feel like a person like this isn't really, she is showing signs of um, an idea of womanhood that isn't actually organic, in my opinion. And the reason I say that is because she just sees it in a sense, like some parts of what she was saying, like she wanted to have like this image of being sexualized, like an object that, can be just sexualized and not just really about womanhood. And that kind of view is kind of like a masculine view of women, honestly. And I honestly will say, personally, for me, to me, I never associated that with womanhood, honestly. As a person who, doesn't really, that has my own identity situation, I've never seen that as like anything to do with womanhood being a sexualized object. That seems like a thing a man would see a woman as, to me. And I mean, like, that just to me is like, with this person, is like several different layers of it. Seems like she kind of like isn't really a trans woman, in my opinion, but more so like there's maybe something underlying that made her want to be a trans woman. But, to me, I mean, like, at the end of the day, whatever she is, the point is the issues that she's having is generally because women who are biologically women don't have to, get surgery, hormones to look like women. And, the problem she's really having, I think, in all of this is that, she's the ultimate butt of the joke. And she's honestly tired of it. She's tired of the fact that she can't be seen as a real woman, and she's tired of the fact that she's seen often as so associated with gay men. And that's why she keeps trying to assert herself away from gay men and attack gay men, because at the end of the day, she doesn't believe her own claim. Because if she believed her own claim, she wouldn't be so upset at gay men. She wouldn't even be concerned about them. But she had such a concern about them because of what people assert and the fact that she agrees with them. What people assert about you doesn't really bother you unless you believe it yourself. And I think she believes it herself. And I feel like the reason she's a woman is because the reason she's a trans woman is because she's trying to basically have a persona, basically, an idea, I like a persona, kind of like her mask, basically, away from something else that she's trying to run away from. the fact that she has anger towards black women and that she can't be a black woman, to me, I mean, like, I understand that, honestly. I mean, like, personally for me, I've always had a thing with, like, taller men, honestly, in a sense. So, I mean, I can understand that some things can make you feel a little bit less than, you know, and I understand that. It's just something she said to me seems like, I don't even know if you're really a trans woman, lady. That's more of my thing. It's just like some things kind of expose her as a person. But what I don't get about what I don't get is something about trans women that kind of just makes me think some of them are really, really mental. Um, but it's just from my perspective, you know, like I kind of feel like I feel like from my perspective, it's kind of like you are angry about what you can't be, but I don't understand what you're angry at, really, honestly. It's just like, to me, it's confusing from my point of view. And that's why I tend to think that they're a bit mental. But I'll keep my thoughts out of it. Anyway, it's also weird when, you know, the other part of what I wanted to address was the latter part of her video where she was acting like women, she tended to basically erase like female heterosexuality. And I don't get that. Like, why are you just assuming all women are like bisexual or lesbian? Like, it was really weird. She just kept talking about how like women have sex with women. Like, that was weird to me because it's like, I think most women, just like most men, are straight. So why are you just assuming everyone's bisexual? Like, that was odd to me. I mean, if you want to address bisexual women who won't date the bisexual man, I always wondered that too. But I mean, like, when you're just talking to regular people in general, it just doesn't make much sense to assume we're all bisexual. Like, very odd there to me. But I feel like, honestly, the main thing. Oh yeah, she was. She was really weird. But like a lot of the time, what I find is that the whole issue with her trying to make men that she was with straight men, or men that she was with the men that we want. And that's what was weird to me because it's like, who said that? Like, I don't really think that straight women want men who sleep with trans women. We would really usually like to know if they're sleeping with trans women, so then we can't, so we won't be with them, basically. Nobody wants to be with a man who's been with a trans woman. So, I mean, we can call him anything we want. We can call him straight. I don't really think it really matters about calling him straight, bi, pan, a leotard. For all we care, it doesn't really matter what we call him. But I mean, like, if women knew that someone was with a trans woman, many of us might want someone who actually likes us and not, you know, trans women. Honestly, personally, as someone who, you know, has no issue with transgender people, obviously, I would not want to be with a man who is with trans women, because to me that's odd. Because I mean, that would be odd for me to want that because I'm not a trans woman. So physically, I can't please a man in the way a trans woman can, and a trans woman can't please a man in the way I can. So to me, it's just odd, the whole idea of, oh, we're with these men, now you're upset. No, no, I think the upset problem would be was if you're gonna hide it and then try and be with this woman. That's the problem. A lot of biological women don't want to be with the men you're with. You got it all wrong and upside down here. You want to be with the men we're with. That's your problem. And you're trying to flip it around because the other way makes you feel insecure, upset about your position in the situation. I don't know what to tell you. Honestly, I mean, like, there are things like with things that I can understand on that, but I mean, like, I'm not going to get upset at a cis man, you know. Same thing here. I mean, like, you shouldn't really get upset at the thing that ideally would want to be. They didn't do it. They didn't make you a trans woman. Nobody made you a trans woman. So you can't get angry at cis women because they didn't do anything. They didn't cause you to be in the situation. Oh, Pretty Brown Girl Ari. Masculine black women and trans black women are very similar. They both have something against feminine, beautiful black women. Black women that are more beautiful than them. Masculine black women? Not really. I wouldn't say so, but okay. They know they can't compete with us. No offense, but if a guy was against trans women being a trans, I would not care unless he's like hateful towards them and is a psychopath. Yeah, I don't know. Like, for me, I don't really, personally, for me, I do not have any issue with feminine women and wouldn't, I don't know. But I honestly think that, oh no, that's not for me. I thought the door was for me. Sorry. Um, but yeah, I don't have any issue with feminine women in any regard like that. If anything, for me personally, I kind of find femininity attractive. It's weird, honestly, not really women. But I don't know. I think trans women, honestly, from my point of view, I've had trans women who are jealous of me, and I'm a masculine woman. Usually, they care more about like if you look pretty or whatever. They care about like beauty and things of that nature, and it's like I don't know, like they're so superficial. And that's another thing with trans women that kind of bothers me is that they kind of make womanhood an image thing rather than something that's deep within. Like I think womanhood and being womanly and being feminine has to do with your inner soul, really. You know what I mean? But obviously, there's more to womanhood than just your inner soul, obviously. I mean, like biologically. You're biologically, biologically very different than obviously a biological man. And I just learned that. Just kidding. But personally, I don't really want to talk about that because I had like really bad situation happen to me because I'm a biological woman. But anyway, um, but yeah, I kind of like think many of the time, like with trans black women, they tend to seem like they have like an issue, I think, with physical stuff, honestly. Not really the emotional side of it, though, from my experience. Like, you could act as masculine as you want, but look feminine, and they'll still be super jealous of you. In fact, I worked with someone who is a trans woman, but she was a trans woman in a way where it was like she looked like a whole dude. Like people at our store would call her a he because she didn't even care enough to try to look like a woman. I mean, like you're biologically a male, and then you look like a male. You're wearing clothing like a male. What are you doing that's female? Like she did nothing like females ever. Somehow we were supposed to call her by a female name. I was just so confused. To me, she looked more like a gay man, but that's just me. But honestly, with all that said, I just don't have anything against trans women. I really don't. If they, to me, the way I see it is this: if there weren't any trans women, they'd probably kill themselves. That's why it's like you saying like that your other people are weak. I mean, the lady couldn't even live as a gay man, or she would have killed herself, probably. And you're trying to say a gay man is weak? You couldn't even live his life. Like, seriously, come on now. I think more so what she's trying to say is that she's too weak to be him. And that's why she chose to be a woman. And that's not what being a trans woman is. It isn't. But to her, I think if you do reverse psychology on this lady, that's what it is. That's what it is, honestly, in my opinion. But to me, I mean, like, I don't have an issue with them in general, honestly, because it's like I said, to me, I feel like this is the only way they can be and exist, really. Otherwise, they probably wouldn't be alive. So if that's the case, if that's what you need to live, if you need hormones, if you need your penis inverted, then go ahead, do it. I don't care. I mean, like, I don't mind calling them women. You know, I don't mind calling them a she. That's fine by me. But I mean, like, the reality of some situation in life, you just have to take a blind eye to because they're still going to be there, you know? So, some people aren't going to be attracted to you because you're a biological male. Some people will be attracted to you because you are a biological male. It is what it is, you know? And those things you kind of have to take a blind eye to because people are still going to be like they don't want to be with men that are attracted to you because they feel like there's a difference, and they know there's a difference. You know there's a difference. You just have to ignore that there's a difference so then you can survive. And I am all for that. Ignore the difference all day long, but don't be surprised when the rest of us don't. But oh, there's another comment. This is part of a bigger agenda to erase women and remove our rights that we fought for. So true. Yeah, especially like with like athletes and stuff like that, transgender athletes, things like that of that nature. Goodness, they are definitely trying to erase. And honestly, I always was a little lenient on it, but I mean, like with biological males, that's just sick. Like, why would we ignore the physical difference between men and women? You know what I mean? Like, on an emotional level, I think we shouldn't really make a difference. To me, I think, like, emotionally, mentally, trans women, we can treat them the same as women, things of that nature. But when we're talking about anything to do with their body, it's a whole different story because their body's never going to be a woman's body. They're still going to have XY DNA. The bones are still going to be bigger. Their structure is going to still be male. It's just what it is, you know. Sometimes some transgender people, you can even look like if they, you can see them in different angles and different views of their face. Even after surgery, they still look male. It's just what it is. Um, so to me, I mean, like, I think that the differentiation should be there, but I mean, they everybody should be treated equally and stuff, and they, I mean, like acknowledging them in an emotional, mental sense, totally fine in my opinion. Um, Pretty brown girl. If only you knew the disturbing truth behind trans women, and this life would be a little different. Yeah, yeah, I know the disturbing. Like, I know the truth behind trans women. Like I said, I've been around trans women a lot. I've been around trans women since I was like 15. I loved associating with trans women when I was a teen. Like I said, that's a major thing for me, is helpful for me, because I mean, like, if you don't want to be something and somebody else wants to be it, it kind of helps you want to be it again. Anyway, um so yeah, I've known different types of trans women. They're not all the same, honestly. Some are different from others, you know, but this one, to me, I just feel like she's not even really a trans woman, honestly, because of her point of view and things of that nature. It's just like, she seems like she's just like trying to be women, but she knows she's not. That's why she's attacking black women. So she really knows what she really is, and that's why she's attacking gay black men. So I mean, like, that's what it seems like from this point of view from this woman. I'm not saying all trans women. I'm not going to really lump everyone in with just one. But there are plenty of trans women who talk as if they aren't really women. Like, I've heard some trans women say that they were gay or and they're attracted to men. And I've heard some say like things that would associate them with being a male person, basically, one thing or another, you know. And it's like, okay, so do you just think this is a costume or something? You know, I don't know. But sometimes it does seem like they're just usually just more so creating an image rather than that really being them. But I mean, to me, even if it is, that's your personal issue. Whatever you're trying to hide from is your personal issue, your personal problem, you know, you need to fix. But I mean, you always have to see where someone is coming for you when they're attacking you, basically. And in this case, black women, to me, it's like you have to understand where this lady is coming from. This lady is coming from a position of, you know, she's wanting to be a black woman, but she can't. She might not even see herself as really a woman deep down. She might feel she's a gay man who's very insecure and weak, the weakest link, you know? And she's just trying to use the black woman image to feel stronger. And that other thing that was weird was that she kept acting like black gay men would be jealous of her. And this was weird to me because it's like they can literally be her if they wanted to. Like I said, any man can be her if they want to. All they need to do is get the surgery and get the hormones. Well, hormones first, usually, and then surgery. But anyway, and they'll be just like her. They'll probably be even prettier and more beautiful and more passing. Because honestly, I've seen many trans women who look more passing than her and prettier than her. Um, so I don't think like that anyone's jealous of her, but like I said, I feel like she is jealous to them because she feels they're stronger than her. And she feels like she couldn't live that life. And maybe something about being gay made her want to be a trans woman. Maybe it's not for the most healthy reason. That's why she's still angry and she's transgender. You know what I mean? Usually when you've transitioned, you're happier. But she didn't seem happy at all. She seemed more angry. So obviously, whatever she's doing isn't fixing her problem. So maybe she's not even transgender to begin with. Maybe she is just hiding who she really is. But one thing I did want to say was this whole assertion of everything being around the black man was just so annoying getting through that whole video. Because to me, it was just like, who said that any issue with black men dating anyone? Like, date anyone, literally. For me, I just don't want black men hitting on me. I don't want the harassment of black men. I don't want any of those issues. But I don't care if they're with trans men. I mean trans women. I don't care if they're with white women and Hispanic women and Asian women. Honestly, on here, I support black men who are swirlers. I do. I don't have any issue with them dating out. I mean, to me, they are just like me. I date outside of my race, and they date out of their race, and that's fine. The only issue I have is when you have such self-hate for yourself and you have an issue with yourself and you're angry at other people your race. That's the problem. But the fact of someone dating outside of their race, if you're dating outside of your race, I mean, like, personally, I don't understand why I would have any issue with anybody dating outside of their race. And I wouldn't have any issue with anybody dating any gender, for that matter. Like, those things, to me, I just don't understand. Oh, there are more comments. I'm sorry. Pretty brown girl. All right, I believe she's transgender. I don't know. To me, like I said, she lives a transgender life and she's claiming she's transgender, so you can't really say she's not, but I'm just saying there's something below, deep down below. Probably not even deep down below. And I think her hate and anger has to do with her own gender identity, I do think. Because it's like, honestly, I wouldn't, like, for one, I wouldn't attack heterosexual women. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand why someone would unless they have an inner hate of trying to prove that they're not that thing. And I mean, like, you won't do that unless you feel some connection to them. Oh, there's another comment. Pretty brown actually want black men to date out. Yeah, exactly. I agree. To me, like I said, you can kind of relate with people who date outside their race anyway, as long as they're not being hateful towards other black people. Because it's like we're in the same boat, kind of. Like, I date outside of my race, you do as well. I mean, it's different perspectives gender wise. I understand that and all those shenanigans, but at the same time, I can't really fault anyone for doing the same thing I do. That just makes no sense. But honestly, like, if black men only like trans women, I mean, like, that would be great too. So, I mean, like, I'm just saying, I don't really care what they like. But I feel like often, like, she's talking a lot about herself with her attacks with gay men to me. It's just like, to me, I feel like she is just upset with what she felt she was pre-transition. Because why would you just think everyone that, like, that gay men were the weakest link, and things of that nature? Like, if you think that they're the weakest link, then you're just saying that based off anecdotal experiences. And to me, I mean, like, I think that's in reference to her. because she was the weakest link. I feel like, you know, being a woman, it's just her redemption, but it's not really like her identity. It's like basically, her persona as is a woman. But, she doesn't really identify with being a woman. That's why she wants to be sexualized and wants to be an object rather than a person. That's why she has anger and hate for black women, and she doesn't see herself as a black woman. Because if she saw herself as a black woman, she wouldn't attack black women because she would feel like she was attacking herself. She doesn't see herself as a black woman. If she doesn't see herself as a black woman, then what does she see herself as? And you can tell she's not seeing herself as a black woman and she doesn't see herself as a woman. It's because in the video, what is she saying? She's like, well, they can't just be with women or something of that nature, but they can be with other people. And she didn't want to say like the other gender or the other sex or anything. So she just said other people because she asserted that trans women were not the same as women. And the reason she's saying that is because she doesn't see herself as a woman. Now, that's how trans women see it usually. The way they see it is they see themselves as women. So if they were to attack women, then they'd be attacking themselves because they see themselves as women. I'm not saying biologically they're women. I'm saying that they see themselves that way. So they have to, if they're going to act, if they're going to claim they're women, they got to talk like they're women. They got to act like they're women. Otherwise, you're not proving any point here. You're just proving us right that you're just a man, and that's great. And I feel like, oh, a pretty brown girl commented, do white men really like tall and curvy women? I'm short and skinny, and I feel like YouTube has been trying to tell me that white men want the opposite of me. I know off topic. I don't know, really. I really don't. I always thought that white men like smaller women. I guess it depends, honestly. Because, like, for me personally, how it works for me, I generally get men who are into Asian women. It's weird. But the ones that are into like Asian women, they tend to like the really small women. But then if that's another thing for me, I don't know. Like I've seen like some white men who would, I think they were average height. Honestly, they seem like they're average height, average size. I don't know, thinner. Just seems like they're thinner. Honestly, I don't know. Huh? I never really thought of that. Yeah, exactly. I do think like a lot of I think a lot of white men that date out generally like small or women when it comes to Asian women. But I just don't know how it works with black women really. I really don't. I think that some people like how people always try and make that whole assertion of like the fetish that off. Honestly, I slimmer women. But I don't really see them And between these two types of people, straight black women and gay black men, they'll always be more of themselves whole issue where she does and she hates the people that I guess are somewhat similar to her that actually do like them, accepting of everything that they are, while she stays unhappy with where she's coming from and stays upset at what she can never be. But it was most funny to me was that she was acting like anyone could be jealous of transgender people. I mean, like anyone can be transgender. They can not anyone can be transgender. I'm not saying that, but I mean anyone can do the transition. I'm not saying can be transgender like mentally or anything. So anyone can transition. You can physically do it. There's nothing coveted about that. And in closing, I just think she is mostly angry because she agrees with all of that. And she knows that's the truth. And that's what makes her so angry at the other two people because she feels she's below them all. Socially, we all know she is. Socially, she's below gay men. Socially, she's below straight women. So she feels like she's beneath everything. And, that's sad. I mean, she shouldn't be judged for who she is. Honestly, she shouldn't feel like she's less than. If she could feel like if she could feel good about herself, maybe she wouldn't have to lash out on other people. But to me, I mean, like, I do, like, I understand her pain, but at the end of the day, she needs to accept that she doesn't need to accept all the toxic things people think about her and actually grow an opinion, a positive opinion about herself, so then she doesn't have to be angry at everybody else because they were dealt a better hand. Oh, there are other comments. Skinny women of all races are usually with white men, and most white men want short women. Only a few white men want tall women. Most black girls that are with white men are short and skinny. Tall and curvy black girls don't end up with white men. Yeah, I don't know. Huh. I never really thought of it. But honestly, personally, I think, what are we calling curvy? Because honestly, for me, I don't think I've ever had much of an issue with white men with my body type. But it's weird because I've always noticed that black men would always be enemy, and it's always weird because it's like I don't have the body type for black men at all. Like, like they are usually like pear shaped. They like prefer like the girls with the big butt, hips and thighs, those kind of girls. The thick girls. And personally I've never been built like that. I'm more like more small, but I always notice like with white men, I don't really think they really care about being. I don't think. I don't think. I really. It's like for me personally, always being bigger chested can kind of like be a plus. It seems like with them, honestly. That's why I'm like. I don't think it's like a thing that they go after completely, but I mean, like I've never gotten any complaints about that. So to me, I'm like, with being curvy, I don't know really. Huh. Even though I've seen some like white men who, but they were usually into white women, honestly. Like because I'm like I've seen some they were into like curvy women, but then those were usually into white women. I think I really wasn't paying attention to. Oh, pretty brown girl Ari. Same. Most black men don't want curvy, skinny girls unless she's a skinny girl with a big butt. Yeah, that's what I heard at least, but I don't know. They're still a bother. Black men are still a bother for me. I don't know why they are, but they still are people with flat butts. But I don't know what's going on with them. But like I said, with like white men, I don't know. Like I don't really think. I really don't think. I think usually with people, they usually care like about body size rather than like your curves, honestly. Because I don't think anyone really has an issue with someone who has a big butt, do they? Or someone with big boobs. So, like, if someone's skinny and they are curvy, I think that's a plus for both all types of races. But I'm not sure. Like I just assumed like if you're like 100 pounds but you have big breasts and you have a big butt, usually people don't have too much issue with that. But mostly for me, I don't know. I just kind of am like, I don't really pay attention to what, black men, white men want, really. I really don't. For me, I guess the reason why I don't pay attention to what they want is because it's like, I concern myself more with what I want than what they want, really. Because that's more my concern. I mean, like, if I was caring about what men wanted and stuff, I probably, I guess, would be with black men then, I guess, because I'd be focused on what men want, right? But for me, it's just like, I don't want something that I don't want. You know what I mean? Like, how am I gonna be with someone I'm not sexually attracted to? It just doesn't make any sense. I don't care how much that thing wants me. If I don't want it, there's no point in me trying to entertain being with it because I mean, like, it's not gonna do anything. I mean, it's like, say if a woman wanted me, for example, do you really think I would want that woman? No. Like, I mean, like, it doesn't matter how hard or how many women wanted me, I still wouldn't want a woman. Oh, pretty brown girl Ari. Yes, most men want thick, slim, thick women. Yeah, I don't notice any of the differences with those types of women, honestly. I think I'm considered skinny, honestly. I don't think I'm considered slim, thick. But honestly, if I was a body, I think I would actually be slim thick. I think. But it's just because I'm built like a Barbie doll. So for me, I don't know. But yeah, you're right. I think you're right about that. Slim thick. Pretty brown girl Ari. He has to be attractive to me. Yeah, of course. Like I don't know. That's the main thing to me. Is otherwise there's no point. Pretty Brown girl Ari. I don't know who wants me. I don't want them. That's that. They can't have me. That's right. But it's been like sometimes people, I guess, get like a little desperate, and so then they start focusing on what other people want and things of that nature, and it's just like it's just like I don't know if that works for you. That's cool, but for me, I mean, like I don't think you'd really be happy just going with people who just want you and not people who you actually want. But yeah, that's basically all I have to say on that lady. I just feel like she definitely isn't getting where she wants to be, obviously, in her transition if she's that angry. Like, she's obviously not happy with herself. So maybe she needs to reconsider why she transitioned in the first place. And I mean, like, if she's not going to realize it by now, maybe she'll realize it in the future. Hopefully, it's not too late. But yeah, that's all I have to say on that issue. Thanks for watching. Bye.